You've seen it. That one 90-year-old who remembers your name, jokes with the cashier, reads without glasses, and seems sharper than someone half their age. And then there's the other kind. The one who stares blankly, forgets their own child's birthday, who's slipping, slowly, painfully, into a fog of confusion and helplessness. So the question isn't just, how do some people stay sharp at 90? It's, why won't that be you? Because unless you act decisively today, you may wake up one morning and realize your mind isn't yours anymore, and no one will tell you until it's too late. These 6 habits aren't just nice ideas. They're your line between staying independent or becoming a burden. Let's begin. The dangerous silence. Why daily conversation saves your brain. There's a sound more dangerous than any scream. It's silence, the kind that settles in the homes of the elderly like dust. At first it feels peaceful. No obligations, no noise, no one to interrupt your thoughts. But over time, that same silence begins to eat away at something far more important than your comfort, your mind. Loneliness is not just unpleasant, it's neurotoxic. Studies from Harvard and Oxford have confirmed that social isolation in seniors increases the risk of cognitive decline by more than 40%. That's not a small number. That's the difference between knowing who you are at 90 and asking where you are at 75. The science is brutal. Conversation lights up multiple areas of the brain. It forces memory recall, emotional regulation, language function, reasoning. When you talk, really talk, your brain fights to stay alive. But without that stimulation, the brain begins to atrophy. You lose words, then names, then the point of the sentence, and finally, you forget why you walked into the room. Real stories prove this. In 2021, a woman named Joan, aged 84, was brought to a neurologist by her daughter. Joan had no history of illness, but after her husband's death, she stopped calling friends, stopped going out, stopped talking. Within 8 months, she was showing signs of early dementia. Her only risk factor was silence. Now ask yourself, how many silent days have you had this week? And don't fool yourself into thinking that watching the news or listening to the radio counts. It doesn't. Passive input is not interaction. Your brain doesn't fight to understand a talking head. It fights when it's engaged, when you respond, when you explain, when you feel the awkwardness of searching for a word and then, suddenly, find it. Here's the bitter truth. If you're not having real conversations daily, you're stepping onto a path that leads to mental extinction. Do this today. Call someone, share a memory, debate a topic, tell a joke. If you have no one to talk to, volunteer, join a group, talk to your neighbor, say something, anything. Every word you speak is like oxygen to your brain. And every day you stay silent, you suffocate it a little more. Move or fade. Why stillness is the first step toward dementia. Let's get one thing clear. The chair you love so much. It might be the most dangerous object in your home, because stillness isn't comfort. It's surrender. And the longer you stay still, the closer you drift toward something far worse than physical weakness. Cognitive collapse. Here's what most people don't understand. Your brain isn't separate from your body. It is your body. Every movement you make pumps blood, oxygen, and nutrients directly into your brain tissue. And every hour you spend idle, slouched, unmoving, that's an hour your brain is slowly starving. A study from the University of California followed 1,600 adults over the age of 65. Those who spent most of their day sitting had a 52% higher risk of developing dementia, even if they exercised later. Yes, you read that right. It's not just about exercise. It's about not sitting all day. Stillness, prolonged and habitual, destroys neurovascular health, which is the lifeline for memory, focus, and cognitive resilience. Real case. Robert, 82, once a high school math teacher, retired with sharp wit and full independence. After a hip surgery, he started avoiding walks. He told his daughter, "I deserve to rest." Within 2 years, his vocabulary shrunk, his short-term memory disintegrated, and he started confusing days. The doctors didn't find disease. They found disuse. His brain didn't die. It rusted. And here's the kicker. The decay happens silently. You won't feel your brain slowing down until the damage is done, until you're reaching for words and they don't come, until you're sitting in a room and forgetting why you're there, until the fog settles and never lifts. Movement isn't about fitness. It's not about looking young. It's about staying alive, mentally. A simple 15-minute walk per day is enough to reduce the risk of cognitive decline by nearly 40%. Climb the stairs, do light housework, march in place. Anything that makes your heart beat and your muscles engage is a signal to your brain. Stay awake, stay sharp. You're still needed. Do this now. Get up, walk to the window, stretch your arms, march for 60 seconds. Set a timer every hour to stand and move. Fight stillness like it's a disease, because it is. And if you don't, you may soon be physically present, but mentally absent. The food you swore was harmless is slowly killing your memory. You've probably said it, or heard someone say it. I've been eating this way my whole life, and I'm still here. But here's the truth no one tells you. What kept you alive at 40 might be quietly destroying your mind at 70. The brain is a high-maintenance organ. It needs fuel, clean, steady, anti-inflammatory fuel. But what most seniors eat is closer to poison. White bread, sugary cereals, processed snacks, canned soups packed with sodium, and evening tea paired with sweet pastries. It doesn't look dangerous, but it is. Because these foods inflame your blood vessels, raise your insulin levels, and silently damage the parts of your brain responsible for memory and reasoning. Let's be blunt. Sugar is not just bad for your teeth. It's a cognitive killer. A 2022 study published in Neurology found that adults with high sugar consumption were 74% more likely to develop Alzheimer's-related memory loss. Think about that. 1 spoon of sugar today, 2 spoons tomorrow, and slowly, invisibly, your brain starts to forget who you are. And salt? It narrows blood vessels, restricts blood flow to the brain, and accelerates white matter deterioration. The same white matter that helps you think quickly, remember birthdays, or hold a conversation without drifting off mid-sentence. You want proof? Consider Irene, 79. She lived alone and prided herself on cooking simple, traditional meals. Toast with jam, instant soup, store-bought cookies, sweet tea. Harmless, right? At 83, her daughter noticed she kept repeating stories. By 84, she couldn't recall what day it was. Her MRI showed signs of accelerated brain aging, without a single stroke or major illness. No one had warned her. No one had told her that food could rot the mind as surely as any disease. Do this now. Look in your pantry. Look at your plate. Cut the sugar. Cut the white flour. Reduce the salt. Replace them with leafy greens, berries, salmon, walnuts, eggs, olive oil. These foods feed the brain, literally protect it from shrinkage, inflammation, and oxidative damage. Eating this way won't just make you feel better. It might mean the difference between recognizing your grandchild's face and asking, "Who is that nice boy again?" Your memory depends on what's on your fork. Choose wisely, or risk slowly erasing yourself. bite by bite. The mental sedative you don't realize you're taking every day. The most dangerous drug in your house isn't alcohol, nicotine, or even prescription meds. It's the endless hours you spend in front of the television, the hours of mindless scrolling on your phone, the passive consumption of other people's thoughts, opinions, and images. All of it feels like relief, a break from the pressures of life. But what you don't realize is this. Every hour you spend numbing your mind is an hour you lose forever. When you don't actively engage your brain, it begins to shut down. You become a passive observer of life, not a participant. And this isn't just about getting bored. It's a deep, gradual erosion of your cognitive functions. You might not notice it immediately, but the more passive your activities become, the less your brain will remember and process. Eventually, you will find that you have lost the ability to focus for any significant period of time, to keep a train of thought, or to understand something complex without feeling overwhelmed. The evidence is chilling. A study from the University of California found that seniors who watch more than 3 hours of television per day are 2.5 times more likely to suffer from cognitive decline than those who engage in intellectually stimulating activities like reading, problem solving, or even having a conversation. That's not just a statistic. It's a direct reflection of what happens when you allow your brain to slip into autopilot. Here's the reality. Brain activity is a muscle. It needs to be exercised regularly. Each time you sit back and let the TV dictate your thoughts, you're allowing your mental strength to atrophy, piece by piece. And while watching TV or scrolling can feel like an escape, it's a sedative, not a solution. Consider the case of Thomas, 85, who spent most of his days watching reruns of old sitcoms. His family visited, but he barely interacted. Over the years, his memory dulled and his cognitive skills deteriorated. He was never diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but when he passed away, doctors found signs of significant mental decline, caused by nothing more than apathy. Do this now. Turn off the TV, throw away the remote, pick up a book, solve a crossword puzzle, or have a real conversation with someone. If you can't find someone, talk to yourself. Engage in activities that demand focus, creativity, and thought. Learn something new. Play chess. Start a journal. Exercise your mind because every hour you let it go idle, you're giving your brain one more reason to forget its way back. You have to fight the sedative. Fight the inertia. If you don't, you'll become a passive observer of your own life, and soon you'll have nothing left to observe. The lie that rest is enough. Why mental health is about fighting back. Everyone tells you to take it easy when you grow older. You've earned it, they say. Relax, you've been through enough. And for a while, that sounds wonderful. Who doesn't crave peace and rest after a lifetime of working hard? But here's the brutal truth. Rest isn't enough. It's a trap. As you age, the world starts pushing you into retirement, into stillness, into disconnection. Your body slows down, and so does your mind. But unlike your body, your mind doesn't just slow down naturally. It craves stimulation. It needs purpose. It needs to fight. When you stop fighting, you lose the mental agility that keeps you sharp. Here's the thing no one tells you. Mental decline doesn't just happen from physical aging. It happens because people give up on mental challenges. They stop trying. They stop learning. They stop feeling connected to the world. And before they know it, they're a shadow of the person they once were. Simply existing, not really living. Look at the case of Frank, 80. He retired early, spending his days sitting on the porch, enjoying the quiet. But as the years passed, he began to feel like something was wrong. His memory slipped. Small tasks took longer. He had trouble following conversations. No one could figure out what was happening. Eventually, his family realized that he had been sitting in silence for too long. Frank wasn't losing his mind. He was losing his will to engage with life. The hard truth is that mental decline begins when we stop challenging ourselves. The brain isn't a passive organ. It's constantly forming and reforming, rewiring itself based on the challenges we put before it. When you stop facing those challenges, whether through reading, learning, socializing, or trying something new, your brain slowly fades into the background of your life. It becomes like an old machine that's turned off and left to rust. Do this now. Set a challenge for yourself. Take up a new hobby, even if it feels uncomfortable. Start learning a language. Take a class. Write that memoir you've been putting off. Engage with new ideas. Expose yourself to new experiences. The goal is simple. Force your brain to adapt, to push beyond its comfort zone. Only then will it thrive. And only then will you avoid the terrible fate of becoming irrelevant to your own life. Rest is not your savior. Movement, engagement, and mental challenges are your lifeline. If you don't fight for your mind now, soon you'll find yourself trapped in a quiet, forgotten world, your mind slipping further and further into isolation. But you don't have to go there. The fight is still within you. Choose to keep it alive, or face the silent death of apathy. The most dangerous habit: believing it's too late. The deadliest thought creeping into the minds of seniors is not a physical ailment. It's the belief that it's too late. Too late to start exercising. Too late to fix a relationship. Too late to learn something new. Too late to do anything. The moment you embrace this lie, that time has passed for you, that you've missed your chance, your mind begins to shut down. Let me be blunt. It's never too late. In fact, the best time to start taking control of your life is right now. If you are still breathing, there is still potential. The idea that age limits your ability to learn, to grow, or to change is a dangerous myth. The truth is, the older you get, the more crucial it becomes to break free from that belief. The worst mistake you can make is to believe that life and your brain are over. Consider the story of Eleanor, a 75-year-old woman who had worked her whole life as a nurse. After retiring, she felt her body slowing down, and her mind followed. She didn't read much anymore, didn't go out often, and spent her days watching TV. At 77, she told her daughter, "I'm too old to start anything new." But at 78, something changed. Eleanor decided to take up painting. At first, her strokes were stiff, awkward. Her paintings were nothing special. But she didn't stop. And by the time she was 80, she had completed 50 pieces. Her creativity had brought her mind back to life. In another example, Walter, 85, had spent his entire life with the same routine, watching the same shows, reading the same newspapers. But at 86, he took a gamble. He enrolled in an online photography course. By 88, he was capturing stunning photos of his grandkids and even won a local competition. Walter was told repeatedly that it was too late to start anything new. He didn't believe it, and neither should you. The simple fact is, the brain can grow and adapt at any age. When you stop pushing yourself, when you accept the lie that it's too late, your mind begins to deteriorate. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, is not reserved for the young. It's available to anyone willing to engage with life. It's just waiting for you to choose to wake it up. Do this now. Choose one thing, just one, that you've always wanted to do but never thought you could. Whether it's learning a new skill, picking up a hobby, or making amends with someone from your past, take the first step today. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's never too late to change your future. But if you don't start now, you might look back one day and realize that you've already missed your chance to live your best life. This is the truth. You are as young as you choose to be. If you decide it's too late, it will be. But if you decide to fight for your mind, for your future, for your joy, the clock will stop being an enemy and start being a tool to push you forward. The choice is yours, and it's never too late to start living fully. No one's coming to rescue your memory. Your kids won't see it happening until it's too late. Your doctor will say age-related decline, as if it's a death sentence. But it isn't. You can fight. But you must start now. These 6 daily habits are not advice. They're a choice. Independence or invisibility. Which future will you choose?